Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and for today's video I'm here with my top 20 modern horror movies of all time. This is a video response to Last Venom 76, Eric, and The Horror Man Joe, so I'll leave links to both of their top 20 videos in the description box below, and while you're at it, if you're not subscribed to either of their channels, definitely do so. So yeah, with that being said, I'll start at number 20 and work my way down to number 1. Coming in at number 20, we have Saw, and this was so groundbreaking when it first came out. I remember renting this one out from the video store, well, DVD Blu-ray store, and yeah, I was just absolutely blown away by this movie. Just the whole concept around people being trapped and being able to escape, but they have to go to pretty desperate measures to do so, and it doesn't always work out for them. Plus the whole twist ending just absolutely blew me away. So that's Saw at number 20. Coming in at number 19, we have The Purge, and I know a lot of people have mixed opinions on this franchise. I really like these movies. To me, I like the whole concept of 24 hours being able to commit any crime you want. I would never want that to happen, but for a movie horror concept, I think it's pretty cool. Plus, I love the whole concept of this family being trapped in their house where they're supposed to be safe and secure, and then having these masked assailants basically attack them from the outside, trying to break in. I just think it's a really, really cool, chilling, and pretty frightening concept. So, The Purge at number 19. Number 18, we have Split, and this is definitely my favourite movie from M. Night Shyamalan. Another absolutely amazing concept, and pretty original too. Now one thing, and I've talked about this before, but one thing that really gets to me in terms of horror is unpredictable characters. They scare me when you're not too sure what they're going to do, their behaviours and stuff. And this movie definitely hits the spot for me in terms of that, because obviously the main character has multiple personalities, so you're never really too sure what personality the character is going to be portraying on screen at certain points throughout the film. Just absolutely fantastic movie, so that is Split. At number 17, we have Dream Home, and I've recently reviewed this film, so I'm not going to go into too much detail within this list about it, but I absolutely love this movie. It's definitely one of my favourite modern slashers, and I love how gory, violent, and brutal this movie is. I also love the storyline of the killer, her motives within this movie. I find really, really interesting. And this is definitely some of the most realistic kills that I've ever seen in terms of a slasher. So yeah, that's Dream Home at number 17. Coming in at number 15, we have Tales of Halloween, and this is one of my favourite horror anthologies of all time. Not quite my all-time favourite, that will be further in this list, but I think Tales of Halloween is absolutely phenomenal. It's got a really, really awesome Halloween vibe to it. I love the wraparound story with the radio host, and yeah, this just has some absolutely phenomenal shorts within this anthology. Some of them are a little bit too short for my liking. I wish a few of them were slightly longer, but other than that, this is an absolutely phenomenal anthology. Great Halloween feel to it. So that is Tales of Halloween at number 16. Number 15, we have Stitches, and this is a gem of a modern slasher. I consider this one to be pretty underrated. It's an Irish film, and yeah, it's about a killer clown killing people at a teenage birthday party. Absolutely fantastic. It blends in comedy and horror and slasher elements really, really well. It doesn't have an overly high body count, but the kills more than make up for it, because this has some of the most outrageous and creative and unique kills that I have ever seen, in terms of a modern slasher at least. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So that's Stitches at number 15. Coming in at number 14, we have It, Chapter 1. And while I didn't have the best theatre experience with this movie, I've seen it multiple times since picking it up for myself, and I absolutely love it. It's definitely head and shoulders above the original miniseries, and yeah, this is just an absolutely fantastic film. I really, really liked everything about this one a lot. I don't really need to talk too much about it because I know probably everyone out there has already seen it, and I think across the board most of you probably have pretty similar opinions on it to me. But yeah, this one's absolutely phenomenal. I really liked Pennywise in this one. I loved his look. The chemistry between the kids was absolutely fantastic. And yeah, there's just some absolutely fantastic scenes throughout this film. Great storyline. And yeah, I'm definitely really, really keen to see It Chapter 2. So that's it at number 14. Coming in at number 13, we have Bird Box. And no, before anyone asks, this isn't an official release. I just printed out the cover off the internet for the purposes of this video. It's still only available on Netflix. But this one absolutely blew me away. It came out late last year, and last year, in fact, was a phenomenal year for horror, I thought. Especially in terms of sensory horror. There was a couple of sort of sensory horror films that came out, and I really hope we see that trend continuing, because I really, really enjoyed that one and the other one, which is also on this list. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves right now. So Bird Box I thought was phenomenal. I thought it was really well done, really well executed. Sandra Bullock was absolutely phenomenal as the main character, and I think being blind would be the hardest sensory thing to lose, because obviously you can't see, so you have no idea what the hell's going on. And yeah, I thought this movie handled that really, really well. Really well executed. I love the fact that you never really saw the creature in this film either, and it was kind of left to your own imagination. And what I kind of got out of this movie is people saw different things, so it wasn't just one main creature that everyone saw. I kind of got out of the film that everyone saw something different, which again, I kind of liked that aspect too. So yeah, Bird Box, I thought it was absolutely phenomenal, and it sits at number 13. Coming in at number 12, we have A Quiet Place, and this one only just beats out Bird Box for a few reasons. One, I like the characters a little bit more. I think they are a little bit more relatable. And I thought the chemistry and dynamic between the family was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, this again was just such a well done sort of sensory horror. Obviously, they had to be completely silent throughout the movie because the creatures would attack them. And again, a very, very difficult thing to do. So yeah, just absolutely fantastic. There were some really tough decisions to be made within this movie, which yeah, there were a couple of pretty hard-hitting moments that really got to me throughout the film as well. But yeah, A Quiet Place, absolutely phenomenal, and it comes in at number 12. Coming in at number 11, we have the Friday the 13th remake, and I don't own an individual release, so I'm just showing the Blu-ray box set, but it's in there. What an absolutely phenomenal slasher remake. In terms of slasher remakes, it's definitely my favourite by quite a long shot. Yes, it does beat out the Halloween remake for me. To me, this is like the best of the franchise in a way. I thought it did an absolutely fantastic job in terms of the characters. Jason is absolutely fantastic in this film. The location and setting's great. I love the whole sort of underground bunker thing that's going on throughout the movie. I thought that was a pretty cool idea, and for me it definitely works. The kills are fantastic, and for the most part, most of the characters are really, really good as well. So yeah, fantastic remake. That's the Friday the 13th remake at number 11. Okay, so now we're down to my top 10. So sitting at number 10, we have 28 Days Later. And no, I'm not going to include Weeks Later, even though I love that one. We're just going to be talking about 28 Days Later. To me, this is a modern classic. It definitely helped introduce the modern, fast-moving zombie. And yeah, just an absolute masterpiece. modern zombie classic in my opinion, so that's 28 Days Later at number 10. Coming in at number 9 we have American Psycho, and I'm sure no one's going to argue that this is in a top modern horror list because it's absolutely phenomenal. Came out in the year 2000, so very, very early on in terms of this list, and it's still definitely held up over the years. There's been obviously a ton of phenomenal modern horror come out since this one, but yeah, this has always remained one of my all-time favourites in terms of modern horror. The character portrayed by Christian Bale is just absolutely fantastic. It has a great 80s soundtrack, and yeah, it's just an absolute modern classic. Coming in at number 8 we have Trick or Treat, and not only is this my favourite modern anthology, but it's my favourite horror anthology of all time. It's got the perfect Halloween atmosphere, vibe and feel, which I absolutely love. All the stories are really, really solid in this one. I love how they all kind of intertwine with each other throughout the film. That's really, really well done, I think. My favourite story is definitely the school bus segment. Absolutely love that story. And of course, this one gave us the cute little horror icon. That is Sam. But yeah, this is absolutely amazing. That's Trick or Treat at number 8. Coming in at number 7 we have Eden Lake, and I recently talked about this one in my top British horror films, and rightfully so, because this is absolutely phenomenal. It's very hard hitting, it's really brutal, and it's a pretty hard watch in parts. There's some really, really full on scenes within this film, but I think it is so well done. The characters are fantastic in this one. If you don't know what this is about, it's about a young couple. They're away on a camping trip for the weekend, and they run afoul of a group of really sick and sadistic teenagers who basically hunt them down, essentially. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal film. The ending is an ending that you won't forget anytime soon. The ending was a massive kick in the guts if the film hadn't done that already. But yeah, Eden Lake, absolutely fantastic, and that sits at number 7. And coming in at number 6, we have Deathgasm. This is a New Zealand sort of horror comedy, and it's done so well. Obviously, as you can hopefully tell from the title and the little metal logo there on the cover, yep, this is a heavy metal based horror film. It's about a group of friends who form a heavy metal band, and basically they come across this lost record. They play it backwards, and everyone in the vicinity that hears that basically turns into demons. There's some fantastic and really, really hilarious gory moments throughout the film. The characters are great. It's got that classic down-to-earth New Zealand Kiwi vibe and comedy to it that works really, really well. There's just something about New Zealand and horror comedy. They know how to nail it, and yeah, they certainly do so in Deathgasm. So if you're a fan of heavy metal and you're wanting a really, really good horror comedy to check out, you haven't seen this, yeah, this one definitely gets my highest recommendation. As I said, I think it's pretty underrated. But yeah, this one has a ton of rewatchability for me. I absolutely love it. And yeah, that's why I have it at number 6. So that's Deathgasm. Coming in at number 5, we have Hatchet 2. And this is definitely one of my favourite modern slashers. At one point, it was my favourite modern slasher. However, it has been replaced since, but that's still not taking anything away from this film. Absolutely phenomenal. It's my favourite within the Hatchet franchise. And I love the more mature cast in this one. It's something that we don't really see too often in slashers, but I love how there's more of a mature cast within this film. Tom Holland's in it, and he's absolutely awesome. Has some absolutely fantastic over-the-top gory kills, as you'd expect from the Hatchet franchise. And yeah, it's just an amazing modern slasher. So that's Hatchet 2 at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we have Inside. This is my favourite home invasion film. A very, very frightening concept of one really, really sick lady targeting a pregnant woman in her own home. This one is extremely violent, it's extremely brutal, and it really doesn't let up from start to finish. It's very, very full on, and yeah, as I said, a pretty frightening concept. So absolutely love Inside. As I said, my favourite home invasion film of all time, and that one sits at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Wolf Creek, and I'm sure this one needs no introduction. This is absolutely fantastic. This one introduced us to the character we now know as Mick Taylor, played by John Jarratt, and this guy has one of the creepiest laughs that I've ever seen in cinema history. His laugh gets to me every time. Really, really creepy and scary concept about a serial killer targeting backpackers, and if you don't know, it's loosely based off a real-life crime case over here in Australia. A guy called Ivan Milat kidnapped and murdered a bunch of backpackers. So yeah, it's loosely based on that, so pretty terrifying concept. But yeah, this is an absolutely Aussie horror classic. That is Wolf Creek at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have Maniac, and this is an absolutely phenomenal remake. Now, I did mention before that Friday the 13th is my favourite slasher remake in terms of the franchises. However, this one is overall my favourite remake of all time and my favourite modern slasher. I just love the whole way this movie was done, the POV style, camera work, just absolutely fantastic. It definitely adds a lot to the film. The kills are absolutely brutal. Elijah Wood, I thought, nailed the character of Frank. Amazing soundtrack, one of my favourite horror soundtracks of all time. And yeah, to me, this is just a modern slasher masterpiece. So that's Maniac at number 2. And coming in at number 1, maybe a surprise to some of you, and perhaps a lot of you have yet to see this movie, but my favourite modern horror film of all time goes to Hounds of Love. This is an Australian horror film. It came out a few years ago. And yeah, this one just absolutely blew me away on every level. The acting and the characters within this movie are probably the most realistic that I have seen in terms of a horror film. And to me, while I was watching this movie, it was like I was there with the characters, going through and experiencing everything that they went through throughout the film. It was almost like I was literally a fly on the wall. Yeah, the characters and the acting were absolutely phenomenal. Like Wolf Creek, this is loosely based off a real crime case over here in Australia. There was a couple in the 80s over in Perth who would kidnap, torture, rape and murder young women. And this essentially follows the final victim who got away. So yeah, this is a pretty hard watch. It's very, very realistic, and it covers the true crime case pretty well. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal film. Hounds of Love, definitely my favourite modern horror film of all time, at least as of right now. And if you have not seen this one definitely gets my highest recommendation. Absolutely must watch, it's amazing. So yeah, that's Hounds of Love at number 1. Okay, so there you go. That was my top 20 modern horror movie list. Let me know what you think of these movies in the comments below, and also let me know if any of these would also make your top 20. And speaking of top 20, in terms of you guys, why not do a video response to this? I'm definitely keen to see what you guys include in your top 20 modern horror films. So if you guys feel like doing a little bit of a top 20 list of modern horror, that would be awesome. And yeah, get your videos uploaded. So basically any modern horror movie from the year 2000 up until now, you can choose. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Before I go though, once again, if you're not subscribed to Last Venom 76 or The Horror Man, their links will be left in the description box below, so definitely check them out. And yeah, that's it. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.